do it.
Perfect.
All right, no complaints there, and I can chop off this part. So,
It's a good part.
Yeah. Hi. Let's try that again. Let's do it without the Kermit the Frog part.
Sorry.
Hi, my name is Tom Blake. I am a certified residential specialist with REMAX Liberty, and I'm happy to be sitting with...
I'm Brieanna Kelley. I'm the branch manager at Annie Mac Mortgage in Leominster, Massachusetts.
And Brie and I get together either bi-weekly or monthly to talk about the Worcester County and Middlesex County real estate markets.
Correct.
And what we've been doing for a format is starting to talk about supply and demand, because those are the two big factors that affect any market, quite frankly. I'm the supply side because I'm the realtor, and she's the demand side because...
I'm just in demand. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's actually true, as it turns out. So, and when we're talking about that, so supply side would be, active new listings, months of supply, and for demand metrics, we'd be talking about mortgage applications, mortgage pre-approvals,
Absolutely.
and we can talk about showing activity and a variety of other things.
Yep.
So ladies first. Why don't we talk about demand first, since you're in demand? Why don't you go first?
So we've definitely been seeing still a considerable uptick in mortgage applications. We had there was a special with Mass Housing that had happened that we thought that was maybe part of what was going on. They had a 0% for $25,000 for a while, which they've now stopped a little bit early, but they still have the other down payment assistance programs. But we were finding out that a lot of the applications that were coming in were actually not attached to that particular program.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So they were
Just normal people. They're like, listen, let's talk a budget. Let's figure out what makes sense for us, and it's time to move. So we're still seeing a high demand in pre-approval applications.
So today is July 1st. So on July 1st of 2026, what is the current mortgage rate?
Yes. So unfortunately, we've been seeing a little bit of a slide back on the rates, but it's about, I think we looked it up just now, it's 6.83.
6.83. Okay.
Correct. And yesterday it was probably 6.73. So there was a big shift today, but the rates are still historically lower than they were in the past.
Okay. So shift up. So we're talking
Shift
about
up.
higher.
Yeah.
Okay. So when she says slip back, what she doesn't mean it gets less. To her, that means
The opposite.
the opposite. They went up, right? So, and we have heard multiple times that people are waiting for rates to come down. They're waiting in the wings for it. So let's talk about the climate for rates at the moment too,
Absolutely.
right? So there's a big to-do about the Iran war and oil prices and a supply shock and a lot of inflation, and rates went up.
Yes,
right? Quickly. They went up quickly again, right? And now that's ended, and supposedly the supply shock will begin to subside. Oil prices have come down. You're probably seeing that at the pump right now, sort of. So how come rates didn't come back? How come all of a sudden rates didn't dive?
So we have other data that's out there. We have inflation, which is still high at this point. I think there's also the idea that, I haven't seen what's the word I want to use? The cost of living is still pretty high for a lot of people.
Cost of living is still high. So actual cost of living.
Correct.
Right.
So, I think it might take a little while that if we do see grocery prices slide down, gas prices slide down, because it's a ripple effect, right? So that's part of the issue. There's also job reports. There's a lot of information coming out regarding that. What kind of jobs are being created right now or not created? What's the supply and demand for that particular market as well?
And the jobs market's pretty hot right now too.
Is,
They're not losing jobs. We're actually gaining jobs.
We are gaining
right?
jobs. Yeah.
So technically, we are getting a healthier economy at the moment.
Correct.
Which means we're not going
to see the rates, because there's no reason for them to kind of move the rates in a lower direction at this point if the economy is bolstered the way that it is. So
right.
I think a lot of the conversations I've been having with people, and we've talked about this before, is that people are still like, hey, you know what, we're not waiting for this magic rate to come down at this point. We don't think that, from what we're hearing, that the rates really aren't going to slide down into the 5s like they were talking about before.
No.
And they really, beginning of the last year, they really thought we were going to be in the high 5s.
Well, a lot of the ingredients were there for that possibility, right? So there was, the market was stabilizing. It looked like a much less less volatile 2026, coming into the year.
Yeah.
It did. And rates were comfortable between 5.9 and 6.25 at the beginning of the year, right?
Absolutely.
So, but unfortunately, just the volatility of the year and inflation heating up and the jobs market not getting colder by any means.
Right. I also think that people started becoming, and I don't want to use the word numb, it's probably not the best word, but they were like, rates up, rates up, rates down, rates up, rates up. Like, all right, listen, we just need to settle within what our budget is right now, make a decision and move forward. Because I think that instability really starts to wreak havoc on people mentally in relation to when they're trying to make a large purchase. So they just are like, you know what, let's really just focus on what we can afford, what we can do, and forge forward. Because to be fair, like owning real estate is a path to wealth. So, they would be foolish not to be investing into that. So, if it makes sense for them, of course.
So we were gonna. My goal was to kind of lead down this pathway, anyways. So let's just go there, right? So we're going to talk about supply and demand, and I would talk a little bit about the inventory that's out there. And whoop, that's my phone. Okay, great, very good. Sorry for the drama on that one.
You must have
My phone overheated today. It's currently out of the case. I just propped it up, and that would have been a $1,200 mistake I don't want to make on camera. So
it was a very nice catch.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cat-like reflexes.
I probably would have snapped it that way.
Anyway, so affordability, right?
Yes.
So affordability. Oh my God! So with the rates. So so in the past, right? In the past, before COVID and before the 3% lock-in effect, saying something like marry the house and date the rate made sense because we were in a declining rate environment.
Correct.
Right? And I think that's a fair statement.
Yep.
Yeah. So at the moment, if you're making a choice about buying a house and your affordability, how do you feel about that date the rate thing? Do you think it's a mistake?
You need to marry the rate. I mean, you need to be comfortable with that with that payment. And I've used that my entire time during even when the rates were declining.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, and I've been doing this long enough, you do not know what the market's going to do.
Nope.
We can't predict it.
Nope.
I'd be filthy rich if I could. But ultimately, you have to be able to stay in that comfort zone within those payments because, we don't know what's going to shift. So I've never been a huge fan of that. I've always been a big fan of, yes, if you have the possibility to lower your rate, fantastic. But in the long run, no. You want to be able to make sure that you're in a long-term relationship with that rate.
With that rate, that's good. So we're going to flip that script for another second, and we're going to talk about affordability in a different way, right? So you're a renter versus somebody who owns a house, and you've just purchased a house, and it's a little uncomfortable right now. You've got all this money that just went out. You are now making this payment that might sting a little bit, quite frankly. But you own your own home. Here's what just happened. You purchased that amount of rent for the next 30 years. So what stings right now, 3 to 5 years from now, with your job, your wages going up, everything around you is going up, your wages, your ability, your potential, all that other good sort of stuff. But that stays the same. So your affordability gets better and better year over year because you purchased a house.
Right.
Right?
You could do the math the other way too, is in relation to the same thing. Take what you would pay for a year in rent. Who else did you just make that to? The person that owns the house. You're not investing it into your own asset.
Yep.
So just remember that as well. Like when you're paying rent, you're paying somebody else's mortgage at that point.
Yeah.
And if some of these people are really lucky, they don't even have mortgages. What's that feel like?
They probably don't, so then it's just,
No, but a lot of them do right now.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
And your rent will go up over time. It will go up over time. Because in order for them to maintain the value of the building, they have to increase the rents.
And we've seen it.
Yeah, they have. I mean,
we've seen
it right now.
Substantial increases in rents, actually.
Yeah, that's because of the price of the houses.
Exactly.
So we got ahead of ourselves a little bit, which is okay, whatever, right? So liquidity and affordability metrics is what we're going to go into. I want to touch base, if it's okay, just for a second,
of course,
on the supply side of things. So there are two things that we hear over and over again about how is the market. When are the rates coming back, which we just discussed. They most likely will not be, we do not foresee the rates coming back, and we have a lot of data to substantiate that statement. The next one is, when's the tidal wave for homes coming? Meaning, when is the market crashing? When are all of the prices coming back? Where everything's got to come back 20% before we can actually afford a house. So, let's have a fun moment and look at the data again. So, last time that we talked, and we're speaking specifically about Worcester County at the moment, because that's what we'll talk about Middlesex County probably next time. So, the last time we talked, there were 10,048 units for sale. Sorry, I did that backwards. 957, right? And right now there's 1,048. I said 10,000, didn't I?
10,000, yeah.
Yeah, I really blew that. I completely blew that number. Let's try that again. 957 homes for sale 1 month ago. Right now there's 1,048 homes for sale. So not a substantial bump up. In 2025, 1 month ago, there was 795 homes for sale, and then in 2025, right now, there were 913 homes for sale. So what that means is the inventory isn't increasing as fast as it did last year, and June is usually a historical low. So year over year, yes, it's following the same trend. Inventory is beginning to build again, but it's not building as fast. So there's not as much inventory being added into the pipeline. The months of supply, there's about 2 months of supply, same as last year. The average original list price 1 month ago was $633,000. It is currently $634,000 and some change. So that means the average list price is going up slightly. So the inventory is increasing, and the people are asking more for their homes. Doesn't quite make sense, right? Now, here's the next part that starts to make more sense. The average days to offer was 29. So it was homes were going off the market in 29 days. Now it's 27. So homes are actually being absorbed slightly faster than they were. So there's more homes for sale, but they're being absorbed faster. And next point, the average sale price a month ago was $565,000. It is currently $574,000 1 month later, or an uptick of almost $10,000. So yes, there's more inventory. Let's sum this up because I just read a bunch of numbers that you probably can't remember. So there's more inventory, but it's not at the same pace as last year. Those homes they're asking about the same price for them, and they're actually being absorbed at a higher price than they were 1 month ago, and they're being absorbed faster than they were 1 month ago. And the number of home sales is almost exactly the same instantly as last month. So that means the inventory is going up, homes are being absorbed faster, and at a higher price. The market is continuing to ascend. So it's all in the data. There's no crash coming. It continues to ascend at about 1 to 2%. Not a surprising thing for us, but it really is kind of a surprising thing for folks that are, watching YouTube. Well, sorry, actually, you're watching YouTube right now.
Watching national.
I guess. Watching, the Henny Pennies of the world that are saying things are crashing. They're not going to crash anytime soon.
No.
So let's see. We're about okay. So I guess that did. I just talked for a whole bunch of time.
Oh my gosh,
what would you like to add to what I just said? Anything in particular? Is that your experience?
No, it's been exactly my experience. I've been busy. I'm seeing. We talked about some of the price adjustments that have been happening as well.
Okay.
Massachusetts they're getting home inspections.
Okay.
They're renegotiating.
They are.
So the only thing that I've been noticing on my end is that sometimes the sales are taking a little bit longer to close, not to get under contract by any means.
Okay.
The houses are still busy. I mean, I had friends that, they've been putting the house on the market. It's coming off the market quickly.
Yep.
They're still getting over asking, which is great. But I have been seeing.
Really? No. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not by. I don't think. Well, it also depends. What's the perception of how many people were in that open house?
Yeah.
But the particular there's a property that I'm thinking about right now. I think she had 7 offers opening weekend,
Wow. Oh, that's a really good
which is
answer.
right, which
Okay.
is not always how we're seeing it right now.
No. That's yeah.
Yeah, I also think that a lot of the people are looking at when they're negotiating, they're definitely putting in they're putting in what they feel is a strong offer, and they're not overbidding in most instances right now
I think
because it's affordability.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I also feel like a lot of the people that are putting in offers are also maybe looking like, hey, you know what? You've got some other stuff going on with this house, and they're talking about either negotiating the price or putting a concession in there, which is asking the seller to pay for maybe part of their closing costs. So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing that same thing. So maybe I was. It sounds like maybe what I was doing was painting a picture of like the same thing as was happening in COVID. So that's not what I mean.
Oh gosh, no.
I'm actually speaking more when I talk about this to the folks who think like the extremes. So we're not seeing 50 people coming through open houses right now. We're seeing 7 to 12.
Oh yeah.
We're not seeing 15 to 20 offers. We're seeing 1, 2, or 3 offers on the house.
Yes.
We are seeing houses that are overpriced sit on the market for 3 weeks, and we're seeing price adjustments again.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
So if you overprice your house, that's a mistake. You, for a variety of reasons that we won't go into, but your house will still sell once it reaches a place that the market sees as of value. There is a place for your home in the market.
Agreed.
If you're a seller, you have the advantage. You do.
Yep.
But it's not as insane as it was before.
Not even close.
It's much more buyers have leverage now, right?
Correct.
Buyers do have leverage with a good real estate agent.
And sellers have the ability to be able to fetch a really great price for their house if, same thing, they're also being reasonable with the value, meaning like they're listing it properly, which also means you're listening to your listing agent and being like, listen, the market is showing this data, and then instead of being like, well, my house is worth $50,000.
Yeah, you can't make up a number.
It doesn't work. And I'm telling you, my pre-approvals, the people that I run numbers with, they're not bidding $50,000 over. In some very rare instances, you see a house that's super underpriced on purpose to create that.
You'll see that.
But that's a different type of conversation. I think that's not the norm.
Your realtor should be able to identify when that happens too, to prep you for that.
Yep.
And not all houses are created equally too, right? So this is where the buyers are voting with their dollars right now because their dollars are very expensive.
Yes.
Right? So anybody who can afford a home in Massachusetts can afford to pay $4,000 a month. Right? $3,000 to $4,000 a month. It's a lot of money, right?
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So if your home is in severe disrepair, or you can't just magically ask full asking price for it, a buyer is going to say, yeah, I really don't want to pay $100,000 to make it livable and pay full price. They don't have to. They'll wait.
And
they're willing to wait.
They will wait.
Yeah, they will wait.
And they have been waiting.
They have been waiting. There's a lot of them on the sidelines right now.
There really are. And I think there's a lot more poking their head in right now.
There are.
But they're being way more cautious. Like
way
you
more
said,
cautious.
pre-COVID time, that market does not exist in relation to buyers right now. Which is actually, in my opinion, I'm happy for that because
it's balanced.
Right, and then you have people making irrational or emotional decisions where people, yes, they don't get me wrong, people do make emotional decisions in relation to
always make
buying and selling.
Yeah,
right.
they always make emotional decisions.
But they're making it with some type of education, which is extremely important.
It is.
So,
it is.
You need experts to be able to guide them. You know, what makes sense, what's your actual budget, how are you listing your house, how are you pricing your house.
Yeah, let's go back to that affordability thing. It's what, like you said, what she said, it's what's right for you right now. Can you afford it? You know,
Long-term relationship with that rate.
Absolutely. I was hoping to talk about so mortgage rates. We jumped ahead on that one. Out of curiosity, what are you seeing for things like insurance costs, property taxes, HOA, inflation, like the ancillary costs around a purchase as well to prepare your buyers?
Yes, we've touched upon this before. Insurance companies are being much more diligent.
Diligent, that's a good word.
Diligent. With their drones looking at roofs and, and technology is advanced enough that they're able to not even have to come and visit the property per se, right? But they're definitely a lot more particular with the insurance on these properties, which also translates into higher costs. So where I'm going to age myself, but way back in the day when I used to start doing pre-approvals, I had house insurance was $50 a month.
It's now, you have to walk uphill both ways in the snow and all that good sort of stuff.
Yeah, I had Wonder Bread bags on my feet. And then
she's ancient. You can tell. Just take a look, right?
I feel it.
No, I'm kidding. Jeez, I'm kidding. You know.
So we have people that are now like $150 a month, $200 a month, and then if you have anything that's, there's some type of disrepair in that house, or depending on where your location are in relation to a fire extinguisher, like an actual hydrant.
Really?
Or if you're too far from a hydrant, you're in a high fire zone, so they tap on.
You're kidding. That happens in Massachusetts?
It does. Phillipston, I think there was one. I have buyers that had really expensive insurance. He happens, and him and his significant other work for public service, so they weren't shocked by this, but
wow,
substantially higher.
Okay, that's a new one on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that, and then the HOAs also translated into having higher insurance, which means the HOA fees are much higher, which also, we're also in this weird stage where there was and I don't know, I'm not 100% sure why, but maybe it was that properties were moving in such a pace, or there was long-term living in houses, and the condos are falling in disrepair.
Yeah, there's a lot of that happening. Right? Is it all right if I chime in for just one second?
Absolutely, that's important.
So I do a lot of condos, right? And so the HOA fees went up as dramatically as the inflation in the housing prices went up from 2019 to now. I mean, so the cost of replacing a roof is like triple right now. The cost of replacing a door is like triple right now. It's and so snow removal. The insurance has certainly gone through, because it costs more to do all those repairs. If something goes wrong, the insurance rates go up. And a lot of HOAs are currently underinsured and or don't conform, if I'm not wrong,
correct,
to the particular loan product. So all of a sudden you need a specific type of loan in order to get financed in a condo anyway, right? So, sorry, I digress. I went way into the weeds
but that goes
there,
right back into that same conversation. But then if you're underinsured, you can't get a conventional mortgage.
Nope.
You're paying. Now you're at a loss when you're selling the condo, but that's a whole different conversation.
You're non-warrantable. You're non-warrantable,
correct.
Right? Am I doing that right?
It is.
Okay.
Yep. So, but it's a big deal. So you have to also make sure that you're making educated decisions, asking questions like, what are the capital repairs? What's planned? What's in your minutes? Because then I've had people that have gone into condos knowing, and this is not right, but it happens.
It does.
Condo fee is right now $375. It's a really cheap condo fee right now, and all of a sudden now it's $700.
Yeah, that's a big one actually for affordable, and you really got to watch out for that one.
Huge.
So cheap condo fee does not mean good deal. It does not. Because cheap condo fee means low capital reserves, and when if it's a 20-year-old condominium complex and it looks relatively young, but it's going to need a roof within the next 10 years, and that condo fee is cheap, all of a sudden everybody in that whole complex is going to get what's called an assessment, which is lots of fun. It's a very big bill that says you got to replace the roof, and you don't have any choice. You got to chip in your amount, right?
Every month.
So every month. So and capital reserves are a big deal. Big deal. You want well managed.
And that's something that as a lender we look at, but as your real estate agent should also be having those conversations.
Yeah, we should.
They're asking those things up front. When you list the condo, you should be having that information available. But that doesn't always happen. But with that being said, it's difficult because then we want to be able to have educated discussions with our clients about affordability. We've caught it. I've caught it when I've been running numbers with someone on a condo, and I was like, hey, I know the condo fee said it's only $407, but I'm looking at this and it looks like there's an additional assessment for another $235, and they're like, wait a minute, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money in someone's budget if they're at the top, especially.
It's half a car payment.
It's big.
It's really sad that it's half a car payment right now too, but
Back in my day, I was kidding. That was a big car payment.
That was a big car payment at one time. It really was.
So I think
it's an interesting rabbit hole we went down. I like this.
I know.
But
So home insurance we talked about, HOA fees. What were we forgetting? Oh, taxes. So my favorite part about taxes, and we'll make this really quick, is we lowered the tax rate. And then the assessment, then what you're assessed for is this dollar. And then next year they raise your assessment, and guess what? You're probably higher than where you were before. Now,
yeah, what are you talking about? So
yeah,
like
what they'll do is a town will vote and lower the tax rate per thousand.
Okay, yep.
And then the next year or 2 years, they go and reassess the properties.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, so it looks great.
Bing, bing,
Yeah, that makes sense because your house sold at, $100,000 higher than what it, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So there's, just,
yeah.
It's the same conversation. And I always tell people that bought recently renovated property or rehab property, like something like that, I'm like, listen, just be aware that when your taxes readjust, they are going to be higher.
100%.
So it's just a matter of having
100%.
conversations with experience and having realistic conversations about budget. But yes, taxes, insurance, and HOA fees are big factors that are outside of just your principal and interest to have conversations about.
You learn something new every day. So I never thought about that, that they would go ahead and vote to lower the tax rate and then the next year assess everybody significantly differently because they can right now. They all can. I mean, if you're a couple years behind, it's justifiable.
Yeah, and we used to see it. So back when, way back in the day.
Which was a Wednesday.
Yes. Back when the rate, the market was shifting, I remember everyone was like, my house is over assessed. And right now the houses are still assessed lower than what purchase prices are. That's just kind of the ebb and flow, mostly. Right? But with that being said, the data tends to trend, taxes go up, insurance goes up. So I always tell people your payment will be principal and interest fixed every month, but the rest of those costs could adjust depending on, what the economy predicts in relation to if there's more losses with insurance and things like that. But it's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Wow, this was a really interesting conversation, and it's a pretty long conversation too. Holy cow. Yeah. Should we leave it there? Is that the right place to leave it? Is there is there anything else that you thought is particular? I mean, we've had a really good conversation about, what the supply is like, what the demand is like, what the interest rates are, what the inventory is like. What affordability looks like and where it's going. And actually, I love what you had to say about the HOA fees and how to analyze them and the tax rates. That was a really interesting thing. Is there anything that you think is particularly pressing that a person really should know right now that's changed between the beginning of the year and now?
No, I think it's just the same conversation. I really think that maybe the predictions for the rates were to come down more. Yeah. They're not. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That was the prediction. They really thought that was going to happen this year.
Yeah, and then again, not getting into like what was going overseas, but open the straight, close the straight, open the straight, close the straight, open the straight. It started creating this weird volatility within people, even with, you saw it at the gas pumps, but then people were like, then the rates started doing this weird ping pong thing for a while. And I was like, listen, we're going to plan for, I did everybody pre-approvals at a higher rate just to be safe, really all of the things. So
that was really smart, actually.
It's because I'm old and wise.
Thanks, Gandalf. That was.
I have so many lines I could take from that because I'm also a nerd, so it's fine.
That's terrific. Well, I knew who it was. I'm right there with you. I would have made a Star Wars reference and really dated myself. No, that's really great. So thank you very much for sitting with me again.
Absolutely.
And we will see you again next month or maybe in a couple of weeks. Happy 4th of July if you happen to be watching this at that time.
We also matched. We're very patriotic.
Oh, yes.
I don't pink, not red. It's fine.
Nope. We got the memo. We both wore blue today.
Yeah, we totally called each other.
We did. Yeah. So I am sitting here, one more time. I'm sitting here with...
I'm Brieanna Kelley, Annie Mac Mortgage, here in Leominster, Massachusetts.
And my name's Tom Blake. I am a certified residential specialist with REMAX Liberty, serving the Worcester and Middlesex counties, and we'll see you next month.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.